So, in our last session, we have discussed about security services. So, here in today's session, we are going to discuss some application services. Right. So, I hope you got some chance to go through that videos or creating your own directory services by following this video. And this one I know a bit difficult until unless you have an existing Active Directory in on-premise or in AWS environment. Right. So now when coming to application services, so basically we are going to use some couple of application services like uh, Lambda and Cloud Formation. And when coming to certification point of view, SQS, SNS, SNS we already know. We can create a topic, we have subscribed, and we can send notifications or emails to that subscribed topic, right? So we are going to use SQS to send messages via queue. So you can expect one or two certification questions from that topic. So we will cover that. So when coming to this Lambda, so basically this Lambda is a serverless architecture. So here, see, you developed an application or your application team developed an application. So they are going to choose a programming language if they want to develop something. So for example, they have selected Python. So now they are going to use a Python and they developed that application. They tested it locally. Now they want to deliver it to all the outside world. To everyone they want to deliver. For that, basically what we need to do, we need to launch a server. We need to perform some installations. So basically runtime environment and with middleware applications. So we need to prepare that environment, then deploy your code or deploy your application. Then your application is going to deliver, right? So here, when coming to serverless, we are going to eliminate this particular layer. We are going to eliminate this particular layer. So you have a code that is written in Python. So then this Lambda platform supports Python or not. If it is supporting Python, so then you can zip all your code. You can deploy that code within this Lambda. So then it is going to delivered to all the outside world. So without having a server, we are delivering our application. So that's why we call it as a serverless application or serverless architecture. We no longer going to use any server. How we are going to get charged? So of course, just like a DynamoDB, we need to choose the memory. Choose the required memory capacity. So then you can, and basically this Lambda supports 6 platforms. So it supports Python, it supports Go language, it supports Java, it supports Node.js, and it supports .NET Core, and it supports Ruby, Perl or Ruby, Quick question. Okay, let me quickly log in. So here you can find Lambda. So then whenever we are creating a function, it is going to ask us what is the runtime. .NET Core, Go language, Ruby. Yeah, it's a Ruby. So you can choose .NET Core, Go language, or Java, or Node.js, Python, or Ruby. If you want to go with any other supported platforms like, Python different versions, Java different versions, you can go and choose. So if your application team is going to write their application or develop their application by one of this, yes, then only you can use this Lambda service. If they're using like, different application, like, they are using PHP, will this Lambda supports? The answer is no, it won't support. So here we have multiple ways to deploy our application. If you observe, we can build everything from scratch. We have an option called Blueprint. Amazon already developed that scenario and they made it available. For some common use cases, we can pick that. So this is container image. This is basically introduced recently. And this is for Docker. I'll talk about Docker in our coming session. So whatever the image you want to deploy, you can give that image URI here, then you can deploy. And if you want to deploy from public serverless repositories, you can go and choose that here. So now I'm going to demonstrate multiple options. I'm going to show author from scratch. I'm going to show blueprint and I'm going to show browse serverless app repository. I'm going to show you all the steps. Now, what is your turn? You must know one of the supported programming language. I'm not going to teach you that. So if you want to learn Python related to AWS, mainly one is Boto3 documentation. So this is the first source of document. So you can use this to learn. My system is responding very slowly. And the second one is I have a channel. Here it is. So you can use one of this. So this is a documentation and this is a YouTube video where you can gain some knowledge on Boto3 operations and all, right? So how exactly it's going to work. The remaining one, yeah, I don't have much tutorials for that. So if I find any, definitely I'll share. So the thing is, if you know one of the programming language, then only you can develop. So what I'm going to show you here, I'm not going to teach you this programming language. I'm going to show you, if you write a code, how to deploy, what are the common issues or common scenarios we are going to get. That I'm going to explain. So what are the common tickets we are going to get? If you're a developer, yes. So you must know one of the programming language. Not only now, even in our demo sessions also, I mentioned that. If you want to promote yourself as a AWS developer, see, if you want to promote yourself as a AWS developer, you must know one of this programming language. So what my responsibility? I'm going to show you how CDK works, what is the IDE and how CI/CD works. That I'm going to show you. So this bracket one, it's your turn, right? So mainly whoever want to go to development side in AWS, you must know one of this programming language. Okay, so now let me pick some blueprint as a first option. So what I want to do, I want to create a function, and when I go and drag and drop something into that web page, it should upload to S3 bucket. So we have a blueprint, public serverless repository. Here we have serverless app repository. So even you can develop an application, you can make it available for everyone. So if it is matching with their requirement, they can go and pick it. So 551, we have here. So we have many. So we have Alexa skill set builder and shutdown EC2 instances, shutdown EC2 running instances, shutdown EC2 instances using AWS Lambda and Python code. So if you want to, you can go here. I've not tried that yet. So if you want to see the code, here is a code. You can go and you can find the code also, as it is a public repository. So you can modify that. So you can go here and you can. So this is a code. This is a Lambda function. So it is importing Boto function and it is getting running EC2 instance information and it is importing EC2 resources and it is going to pick. So from these EC2 instances, it is going to filter instances by using instance state name and it is going to wait for pending and running state instances. Filter the instances returned using state name. You can also filter by using tags also. What exactly tags you want to give, you can give that. So return instance ID for instances in instances, right? So then what it is going to do is going to trigger that instance into stopped state. So if not, no instance in this state running or pending. If else, like, it is going to stop that instances using that. So it is going to pick the Lambda handler, right? So this is a very, very simple code to stop any of the running EC2 instances, to shut down any EC2 instances, stop, right? So you can pick this and you can deploy this. What is the application name you want to give? You can give it. So then you can deploy. So then this code is going to deploy. So then whenever you want to terminate something, then you can just go and you can, if you have any instance in running state, you can shut down that. Okay. Responding. Come on. Every month updates. That is a problem with Windows. Patch Tuesday. Some updates came and it started responding timely. Right, so I'm going to deploy this. Similarly, I'll deploy another one. So when coming to another one, for example, I need a website where if I drag and drop something into that website, it should upload to S3 bucket. So that is what my requirement is. So once this got completed, I will go and I will deploy that. So it's deploying. So now I'm going to create another function. So this is creating. So now I'm going to browse serverless app repository. So for this, if you observe, whenever we are searching for S3, you can find a number of. So I want to look for, I'm looking for an option called uploader. So this is an application. I tested this application earlier. So whatever the file I'm going to drag and drop, it is going to upload to S3 bucket. So I'm going to click on uploader. Then I'm going to deploy this. Scroll down. So to what is a destination bucket? What is the application name? So I'm going to call this application as a S3 uploader. What is a destination bucket? Whatever the thing I'm going to drag and drop, I want to deploy it to this particular bucket. I'm going to deploy it to this particular bucket. So now let's scroll down and click on deploy. So in backend, one API gateway is going to create and it is going to give a URL like this. So if we can even also set up a custom domain name instead of this by using root 53, right? So then click on deploy. So whenever you want to see that application, so you can go and find that application details here, right? Here is the code. So if you want to see the code and all, you can go and do that. So click on deploy. It's going to take some time. So this is a code, right? So by using this, so this is exactly how it's going to happen. So whenever you're uploading, so it is going to deploy something to upload. So the backend process and all, right? So you can even get, as it is a public repository, we can even get the code also. So it's going to take some time. So we need to wait. This one, okay. So now We have serverless web application for uploading files to S3. That is ready. So 5 seconds ago, it's last modified. So now I'm going inside this. So then here we can find, here we can find the code. So we do have an IDE within the browser. So you can go and you can perform whatever modifications you want to perform. So it's loading the function. So this is what the code. So what exactly you want to, you can go and you can choose that. Okay. So now I want to run this. So, or I want to get like, so I want to second. So I want to test this function. So here is the API endpoint I got. So I'm going to open that in another browser. So I'm going to get a web page. So this is a web page I have deployed by using that. And let me quickly open the S3 platform. And I want to show you whatever the file I'm going to perform drag and drop, it's going to upload to S3. I think this is the bucket I have given. So at moment I have 5 objects. So now I'm going to, 1 second guys. I'm sorry guys. So here is the S3 bucket. I want to upload whatever the file I'm going to drag and drop here, it is going to upload. For example, I'm going to take rds2.png, drag and drop here. See 6 objects, rds2.png. Just now it got uploaded, right? So similarly, so your whatever the file you are going to drop. So if you want to perform such type of operations, we can go and use the blueprint deployment option. That is one thing. So now I want to show you one more. That is this is public repository. Public repository used S3 uploader. And when coming to AWS Blueprint, so when coming to this AWS Blueprint, so Amazon, they developed and officially they made it available for us. So when coming to this blueprint, I'm going to use a function called Canary function. So when coming to that Canary function, so basically Canary function, whatever the website we are going to give, it will open that website. Whatever the string we are giving or whatever the string we are passing as an environment variable, it will look for the string. If the given string is available, it treat that website as a healthy, otherwise it treat that website as a unhealthy. For example, you have given google.com. Now within this google.com, so whenever you are searching, so Gmail, yes, we have here it, right? So we have a Gmail here. So whenever you are searching Google, we have here it. So whenever you are searching, like, any other, like, in, it is available here. So now when this Google website is down, can we find this string? When this Google website is down, can we find something like Google? So it is going to give, like, customer error message, the website is not available, or request timed out error messages we will get, and this string will not present within this website. So same thing, whatever website you are going to, if you are opening amazon.in, so it will open and it is going to look for the given string. For example, you are trying to look for mobiles. Is the string available? Yes, it is available here. Then when this string, searched string is matching with this website string, it treats that website as a healthy. Otherwise, it's going to treat that as a non-healthy. That we can define that site down and all, whatever customer message you want to, you can give that. Okay, so now for that I'm going to create a function. So for that I'm going to use a blueprint. Now, so here we have many. So DynamoDB process stream, S3 get object by using Python. So Kinesis Firehouse, Lambda Canary function. This is what I'm talking. So HTTPS request, so simple mobile backend by using, like, DynamoDB table. So I'm going to take this Canary function. This comes under testing platform. It is going to test our website, right? So I'm going to pick that Canary function. What is the function name you want to give? My Canary function test is the name I'm giving. So this Canary, this Lambda creation is also going to create a backend IAM role. This is what going to be that IAM role. What are the required permissions? For example, this Lambda is going to store all the logs in CloudWatch. It is going to store all the logs in CloudWatch. So for that, it needs some permission to write the logs, right? And if this function need to trigger periodically, for example, for every 30 minutes, it need to go and it need to run this function. It need to check our website for every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes. So how the permissions are going to be delivered? By using this Lambda permissions. So in our IAM, it is going to create a role. So I hope you know what exactly role is, and we created a role for our EC2 instance. But now we need to create a role for Lambda service, and if you already have, you can go and you can pick that existing role here. For example, you want to create a role and you want to use that, navigate to roles, click on create role. For what service you are going to? For Lambda, I'm going to. So I'm going to pick Lambda. I'm selecting Lambda, then click on next. So then what policy you want to associate it based on the policy. For example, I'm going to give S3 full access. I'm going to give S3, then review Lambda S3 access, create role. Then go back here, give a refresh. Give a refresh. So then go and search Lambda S3 access role. We can give it. So this is one of the very common thing we are going to perform. As a operations guy, we are going to perform. If you are a developer, you need to create your own role based on what services you are going to tweak and this code, how many services you are going to utilize via this code, or how many services you are going to use this function. Based on that, you need to, right? So initially, let's go with the create a new role with Lambda. So then scroll down. Now this function, how frequently it need to execute? So it need to execute for every 15 minutes. So for example, for that you can create a new role. This is going to happen by using event bridge. Earlier we call it as a CloudWatch event, but now the service name is event bridge. You can go and pick, like, I'm going to pick create a new rule. And what is the rule name? What is a rule name? So we can give that rule name here. So I'm going to call this as um, every 15 minutes rule. So now how you are going to choose? So we have a rule type. So we can go and we can give schedule expression. And for example, you can give it in rate format or cron format. You can give 15 minutes. So what happened for every 15 minutes, it is going to trigger. Or else, CloudWatch on example. So I've already taken you through this in our earlier session. So you can go here. We have many. So basically we have, like, 6 or 7 here. Minutes is represents the minutes, hours, days of the month, days of the week, and year. So here is some examples. So if you want to run something every day at 10, this is what you can pick. So now, so you need to give space between these. So basically this means for every 10 minutes, for every single hour, in every single day, it is going to, for that you need to give cron. So this means for every 10 minutes it is going to. Okay, so that is another example. So similarly, you can pick your decide example, then you can define that here. If you don't want to, if you want to trigger it manually, you don't need to select anything, you can remove it. So later on also, of course, we can add that stage. So now this is what the code. As I mentioned, this code is going to open whatever the website you are viewing, and it will look for the given string, and it is going to look for. So it is going to import OS, and it is going to import date and time. So basically, so this is also going to use this written in Python. So it's going to open that website, and it is going to look for, like, URL opener, and it is going to read. So if any problem with that URL opener and all, that is going to give validation as a failed. So then if, like, the string is not available, it is going to give check failed. If the string is available, it's going to tell us the check has been passed. And then it is going to return an output. It is going to print something like, check completed at this particular point of time frame. It is going to give that. For example, instead of check failed, if you want to give check has failed, you can modify that once this function got created. Okay, so now what website you want to open? I want to open google.com. What is the expected string? Google is my expected string. So if you want to encrypt this function when it is in transit, you can give, like, it is going to be encrypted, whatever the variable you are passing, that is going to be encrypted. So then click on create function. So this Lambda function is creating. So here is a code. If you want to modify something, you can double click and you can modify from this console also. So now I want to run this. So if you want to test this, you can go to test page, and here we have an option called test, or else from here also we have an option called test. Click on test. So just give an event name. So test event, then scroll down, click on create. So now test event successfully saved. Now click on test. So it tells us whether event got successfully executed or not. So it is giving an error, unknown URL type google.com. So it is not able to identify whatever the environment variable we have given. So now for that, we can go and we can modify this environment variables. Navigate to configuration. And here we have an option called environment variable. So edit this. So I want to open https://www.google.com. Save this. So now it should not give that error. Navigate here and test the function again. Scroll down, test the function. See here, the execution is success. So it is opening this URL at this particular point of time. The check has been passed. So check completed at this particular point of time. So now when we are testing at that particular time only, this code is running. Remaining all the time, it's going to be idle. So we are not going to get charged anything. This is the latest response. Okay, status is succeeded. And to run this code, how much memory this Lambda function consumed? So this Lambda function consumed 50 MB of the memory, and how much time it took to execute this code? 304.76 milliseconds. So based on these two things, one is how much duration this code is running, how much time it take to run this code, and how much memory we have allocated to this Lambda function. Based on that, we are going to get charged. So one is based on code run duration, memory configuration. We will get charged. So what is the advantage in this scenario? See, your application need to be run up. Your application should be up and running always. So you don't know when the request is going to deliver. So you need to launch an EC2 instance, at least one EC2 instance. And you need to keep that always up and running, right? And whether end client is using it or not, you need to pay for every single hour. But here nothing like that. So what exactly you want to? Whenever you are running this code, then only you are going to get charged for that. So this is another example. So one of the very common requests is increase memory allocation of a Lambda function. So I'm going to list some of the very common tasks we are going to get. Increase Lambda function memory. So this is one of the common requests. And for that, navigate to configuration. So under general configuration, here you can find 128. So click on edit. So the maximum memory is 128 MB. So till 10 GB, we can increase it. So you can go and you can give, okay, I want to go with the 150 MB. Then click on save. So no need to take any downtime and also on the go, it is going to modify. Now it is running with 150 MB memory configuration. First thing. Second thing. So timeout value, change the request timeout. For example, the code itself is very, very lengthy one. The code is taking too long time to execute. So within 10 seconds, it is not executing. So you are getting a lot of timeout request. Then go and modify, increase this. For example, I want to make it as 60 seconds. That is nothing but 1 minute, right? So I'm going to make it as a 1 minute. Then scroll down, save. So then we have increased the Lambda function memory and timeout duration. Now another common interview question is, can we run this Lambda function within a VPC? So the answer is yes. We can run this Lambda function within a VPC. So you can expect any question. So you have navigated to configuration and you are trying to modify and you are trying to run this Lambda function within a VPC, but it is not successful. So how you are going to troubleshoot? So you can navigate to VPC, no VPC configuration, click on edit. So now I want to run this within default VPC or custom VPC. I'm going to choose a subnet. Then scroll down. What is the security group you want to use? So I'm going to use Linux SG. So then scroll down, click on save. Whenever we are trying to save, see What it is giving an error? The provided execution role does not have permission to call create network interface on EC2. It is giving this particular error. It is giving this particular error. So now to fix this error, we have an option. So whatever the Lambda function you are using for this, for that Lambda function, we need to associate a policy called Lambda VPC execution role. Search for VPC. So here you can find AWS Lambda VPC access execution role. Lambda IAM role should have a policy. This is what the policy. Whenever that one contains this particular Lambda, whenever it contains a policy with this one, then only your Lambda function is going to run within a VPC. This is the question you can expect in your interview when coming to Lambda. So navigate to configuration. Now go to permissions. At moment, this is what the role it is using, but I modified I want to use this role, Lambda S3 access role. Click on edit, then scroll down, pick a role, give a quick refresh, search for the role. So I'm going to search for a role called S3, Lambda S3 access, save. Now we associated a new role to this Lambda function. First thing. Second thing, navigate to VPC. Now edit in what VPC you want to run. Go and choose that. You can choose our custom VPC also. Go and pick one of the subnet. Then scroll down. Then what security group you want to give. It is recommended to give 2 subnets. So then scroll down. Then click on save. Now it is not giving any error. It is updating the function. So it is going to run within the VPC. So this is another very common interview question. Now this is another example that we have picked the Canary function and we running this. Now one more example is build everything from scratch. For that I have 2 running Lambda functions. I'm going to share you these Lambda functions with you guys. I'm going to share these functions with you guys, so you can definitely give a try with that. So one is Ebs Status. So this is a code. This is a real code we are using in environment. So if you observe this code, we are importing Boto3, we are importing JSON, and couple of services we are using. We are using EC2 and SNS. EC2 is to get the resources. SNS is to send the notifications. What is the SNS topic you are going to use? In your case, you need to create an SNS topic. So I know, I hope you know what exactly SNS and how to create that. Create an SNS topic and give the SNS topic ARN here. Then when an email is sending, so what is SNS object you want to give? So then this is going to get details. So it is going to get describe volume details, and we are going to filter that volumes by using. So what is the status of that volume and whether it is in available state. So then it is going to pick that volume and it is going to give hi team. So /n, it is going to take it as a new line. Below is a list of available status volumes. So then it is going to give the volume details. If something is not available, it is going to give, okay, there is no volume. So these volumes are non-compliant volumes and all. Then it is going to trigger via this SNS topic. So this is what going to be subject of that SNS. So this is a small function where whenever we are running this function, so then it will go and it will try to search for the volumes. It will search for the volumes. So there is no function assumed. So basically there is an issue with the role. So if we have any volumes and all, then it is going to trigger. So even this SNS notification also, I believe it's not available. So you can replace this. So I'm going to share this code So first function, check whether the volumes are encrypted or not. If you have any unencrypted volume, it will send a notification. And it will tell whether any volume is not in associated state. If it is in available state, it is going to give notification. So then another function, start and stop EC2 instances using Lambda. So it is going to, this is a role you need to create. Basically, this is a IAM role you need to create. So IAM role should contain its permissions. Then create a Lambda function. So to stop the EC2 instances. So give this, create another Lambda function and give this as a code. So then whenever you are running this, it is going to stop the instance, whatever the instance IDs you mentioned here. These are the instance IDs. So these instances is going to stop. So these instances is going to start. So basically by using this Lambda function, you can start and stop the EC2 instances. So I want you to test this function. So I'll show you this. So this is a role you can create. So navigate to IAM. First of all, create a policy. JSON. I'm going to give. This is a policy. Click on next. So then what is the name? Test 1, 2, 3 is the policy I'm giving. Click on create deploy. That's the first one. So now go and create a Lambda function. And before that, we need an EC2 instance to test this. Open an EC2 and try to launch an EC2 instance. Now an EC2 instance got provisioned. Here is a EC2 instance ID. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick this, like, stop EC2 instance Lambda function. Then create a function. So basically this is written in Python. So this is written in Python. So you can just go and you can choose author from scratch and stop instance function. And here I'm going to choose Python 3.8. Then scroll down, create function. So now we are creating a function from scratch. I selected the first option. So now we need to replace that. So whatever the instance ID we have, that instance ID we can give within this code. So now go and give the source code. So do I have anything? It's just a basic hello world program. So now what instance you want to? So go and pick the instance ID, give the instance ID here. So then you can remove whatever the one you really don't require. Okay. So now you can go and you can test this. So I'm going to test this. Click on create. Now test this. So it is loading. Region name AP South -1. I have saved this instance. Stop your EC2 instance.
Do we have to deploy the changes?
Changes not. Oh, sorry, I missed that. So that's why I'm worrying. Like I'm just checking. It's still showing that hello world and all. So why it is not? I was, yeah. So whenever we run this, then it is going to execute that, and we got an error. name AP South 1. It is a working function only. Okay, the role, navigate to permissions, it is using some different role. So we are not sure whether that contains permissions or not. So we created a role. We have given stop. This is the one. No. What is the role name I have given? Policy. We need to create a role basically. Create a role. We are going to choose Lambda. And customer managed. Some time back, I created a role. Okay, I'm going to pick the stop and start instance policy. So just some the same thing, copied and pasted there. Review um, Lambda stop role is the name I'm giving. Then create a role. So now go back to this and give a quick refresh and provide the required permissions. Then save. Okay. So now navigate here and try to test this. And there you can see it got stopped your EC2 instance. So whenever we go here, when we give refresh, see this, it is stopping our EC2 instance. Basically permission issue, and initially I have forgot to click on this deploy button. So then this is going to deploy, right? So this is a code to stop the instance. So similarly, I want you to give a try with start EC2 instance. So then you can go and you can deploy a lot of new functions and all. So that is a task for today. So take these three functions and try to deploy. And if you're a developer, yeah, please try to go and deploy some more functions. Try to launch an EC2 instance, try to upload something. So you can do whatever you want from this console. And if you are into operation side, so if you don't want to go into the development and all, so we are good to understand this service. So modifying the permissions, changing the roles, increasing the configuration, and tweaking the service periodically. For that, we can go to configuration and we can go to triggers. Click on add trigger. So then you can give a trigger as a CloudWatch metric, event bridge. Look for event bridge. So you can give periodically, you can trigger that. This is not. Okay, so that is an example for Lambda. So I want you to, I'm going to share these three Lambda functions. So please go through that Lambda functions and please create and please deploy that. Right, so when coming to another application services, we have cloud formation, but the time is not sufficient. We will discuss that tomorrow. So we will discuss about SQS. So basically this is a small certification topic. When coming to SQS, SQS stands for Simple Queuing Service. Come on. This is worst problem with this Windows. So we got the patches and it is updated. Still, it is like, I need to perform some more updates. No. So basically, this past Tuesday will cause all these issues, right? And you can find a number of the memes on that one also. Windows update memes. So you can find a number of. So when coming to this SQS is Amazon's one of the first service. SQS stands for Simple Queuing Service. So SQS stands for Simple Queuing Service. So here, this is a messaging service, but it is a poll-based or pull-based message service. So we have SNS. It just sends a message, a simple notification service. It's a simple notification service. It is a push-based messaging service. It is a push-based messaging service. So within this SNS, basically this is Amazon version of MSMQ, Microsoft Message Queuing Service, right? Or WebSphere. So this is Amazon version of service. So this service used to decouple the application. So basically we are going to have loosely coupled and tightly coupled application. Monolithic application or decoupled application. So monolithic application means, so it's a single process. In between, if any process interruption happens, so the entire process is going to get affected. So but whenever you are using decoupled application, so multiple processes runs from multiple ways. So interruption, very less chances. If one process fails also, another process will take up that. So we have monolithic and decoupled application. So this SQS decouples the application. It's not a monolithic. Example for monolithic is SAP. But 90% of the applications nowadays is using in decouple method only. So when coming to SQS, we can create a queue where we can send messages via that particular queue, and that messages is going to deliver to the end customer. And to that queues, we have multiple options. Standard queue, and we can go and choose FIFO queue. So FIFO stands for first in first out. We can go and use standard queue, or we can use first in first out queue, right? So based on our requirement, we are going to use. When coming to your certification exam, so the question you will get in this manner. So you are developing an application. So within that application, you are developing an application for a restaurant. So within that restaurant, we have 3 tables. When these table got filled up, so whatever the customer you are getting, those customers should wait in a queue. And for these customers, we should give a priority. This is the first guy, he came second, he came third. So now if any table got vacated, directly you are going to allocate this guy? No, right? That doesn't make any sense. So we need to maintain a priority to the messages we are delivering. So in that scenario, we can use this FIFO queue. First in, first out queue we can use here in this scenario. Right. So you don't want to maintain any priority to these messages, then you can go and use the standard queue. So that is one of the very common certification question. First thing. Another question is, you are developing an application. That application is going to have some premium content and some free content. Now, whoever paid or subscribed, so they should get the premium content, and remaining all they should get free content. So now you want to segregate the users within your application. So premium users, no delays and all. For free users, we want to give some delay or some free streaming for some time. So in that scenario, create a queue for premium customers create a queue for free customers. Gave priority, gave delivery delay for these users, free users. So this is another certification question. So the answer is use a dedicated queue for premium, dedicated queue for free customers. And one more certification question or regular topic you might hear. So now one queue is there. That queue contains some messages that need to deliver to one of the application. But due to some reason, this application is not received that message and this messages is in long queue and it is failed to deliver that message to that end application. So then this message is going to treated as a dead message. Such type of dead messages we can maintain in a dead letter queue, DLQ. Dead letter queue. Undelivered messages is going to be stored in this one. Can we see these messages? Yes. Basically, message retention period is there. That is 14 days maximum. Within that message retention period, yes, we can see this message. And one of the very simple application to understand this SQS is auto scaling group. So in our auto scaling group, we are going to have an EC2 instance. And here is the auto scaling group metric we configured. What this auto scaling group will do, okay, whenever this EC2 instance CPU utilization is greater than or equal to 80%, stop that EC2 instance. This is what you configured here. Now, how this auto scaling group will come to know this EC2 instance status? So in between, this SQS service is going to be used. It is going to send a request queue. Okay, what is your status? Then it is going to send the response via response queue. Okay, this is what my CPU utilization of. Again, what is the CPU utilization? This is what my CPU utilization. So in between, in backend, in development phase, we can see this SQS queue. So this is one example for the SQS. So seems I have an issue with my browser. It's not loading at all. Let me pick Firefox also. Let's see. And these are some certification questions. So in interview, you won't get much questions on this. You won't get any questions on this most of the times. You will get questions from the core services and security services only. Guys, quick update. So I will not available on this Monday. So I won't take any session on this Monday. So to compensate that, I'm okay to take a session tomorrow if you guys are okay. Because we have just 3 to 4, just three sessions pending. So we're done with all the content. One is related to DevOps CI/CD pipeline, and then container mechanism we are going to discuss, right? So we don't have much things pending here in this course. So if you have any questions and all, definitely we can. So are you guys okay to have a session tomorrow? I will not be available on Monday. Just for that purpose, I'm asking. Otherwise, I really don't have any intention to take sessions on Saturdays. Respond, guys.
Okay. I'm okay with it.
Okay. So thanks for understanding, guys. Okay. So thank you. Thanks, Mohammed. Thanks, Ajinkya. Right. So here is the SQS, simple queuing service. And so I have shared that quiz one in our Slack channel. So please go through that, and I'm going to share quiz two also today. Please take some time and go through that. So here is a standard queue. Here is a FIFO queue. Based on your requirement, you can pick that. When coming to certification point of view, one is message retention period. SQS message retention period is default 4 days and maximum is 14 days. Once message is there, so like within 14 days, and maximum message size is 256 KB. So you cannot send a message that is more than 256 KB. And if you want to give any delivery delay, you can give anything between 0 to 15 seconds. And visibility timeout, 15 seconds. So if you remember these three values, that you are good with that, so then you can create a queue. You can create a queue and you can start sending messages via that queue. So this is a simple queue, and we are going to give this URL to our application team. So they are going to use this. And if you want to send any messages and all, here if you want to test this, you can send and receive test messages. What is the message you want to send? Do you want to deliver this mail? You want to deliver this message with any delays? I want to deliver this message with 10 seconds delay and received in 10 seconds. So your message has been sent, but it is going to deliver within after 10 seconds only. That is what delivery delay. So um, so if you have any dead letter queue, you can use that here. Whatever the message is undelivered, so it is going to send to this particular queue. That is also one more thing. And if you want to see what are the messages you are receiving within this queue and all, you can scroll down. You can poll for messages. So here click on poll for messages. You can find, okay, this message is there. That message size is 11 bytes and it is not delivered. This is what the message. And here you can find the details of this message. Right. So this, by using console, we won't perform anything, and we really don't perform anything with this SQS, but you will get a clarity what exactly these values, right? So that is a SQS. So just keep these properties in your mind and couple of scenarios. The one we discussed, reservation system and premium content questions in your mind. So that is we are good with that, right? So in our tomorrow session, we are going to discuss what exactly cloud formation is. And Lambda comes under free tier eligibility. So you can definitely create Lambda functions and you can run. And not only now, it's going to be free always. 1 million request you will get under free tier limitation. So you can definitely give a try with that Lambda function, right? So I'm going to share this as well as Lambda sample Lambda functions. So please spare some time and please go through that, guys. I want you guys to give a try with that Lambda functions. Forget about the code. If you don't know the code also, no issue. Forget about that. Just deploy and test that application with the blueprint and the Canary function and all. So then you will gain some competency. Even in interview also, you can definitely mention that. Okay, so I have worked on Lambda, but not into writing the code and all. So these are the common requests I get on Lambda function. So I am going to take care, or I'll definitely I usually take care about these things and all. You can mention that, so that interviewer definitely satisfies with your answer, right? So that's it for today's session. So we have a session tomorrow. So in our tomorrow session, we will discuss about cloud formation. If time permits, we will have introduction to containerization. So then in our Tuesday session, we will discuss containerization in detail and all, and we will discuss CI/CD. By 21st, we can done with this course. Or if required, we can even extend. I really don't have any particular time frame also or deadline. Right, so that's it for today's session. See you again tomorrow, guys. Thank you.